Fellow Southern Cameroonians, fellow brothers, fellow sisters, fellow fighters, good afternoon, good evening, good morning to everyone watching me right now. I am here to address the peoples of Southern Cameroons, the good people of Southern Cameroons who have put up a good fight for the past 10 months, and the people who brought the regime so far to its knees, and the people who are resilient to push the regime over the cliff. I am General Ivo Masa Tapang Ivo, Tanku, as I am commonly known, and certainly the people of Southern Cameroons have to be congratulated for the brilliant effort they put up on the 1st of October 2017. These people with little or nothing put Cameroon, Southern Cameroons on the map of the world as the country that is self-determined to achieve its restoration of its lost statehood. Certainly, we've come this far, and the regime has used the weapons supplied by the West and Russia in particular to clamp down on unarmed civilians and citizens who are willing to put on the map of Southern Cameroon's human dignity, democracy and the rule of law. This is a regime, the Paul Biya gangster regime of Mr. Shekau Bartholomew Paul Biya, as he is commonly known. He has used all his military might to suppress dissent and of course to suppress pro-democracy voices. We shall not relent, and no one is stepping out or stepping back from what we have achieved so far. We are currently in the middle of the sea, the Red Sea, and everyone must be ferried along, and we shall swallow up the La Republique forces in the middle of that sea. My people of Southern Cameroons, we understand so many people have been killed, especially after October 1. More than 200 lives lost, several people maimed, others shot in the feet, and others whose hands or limbs have been cut off. We understand that the regime has tried as much as possible to prevent us from documenting these evidence that will certainly be used against them in the court of law and in the International Criminal Court. Mr. Biya, of course, he is alleged or he is charged with crimes against humanity, and certainly we have to put the regime back to its rails. Our people of Southern Cameroons, there is just one thing I have to tell you, or there is just one thing we have to collectively tell you, or there is just one thing all of us have to know. It is the fact that we cannot relent at this particular point of our struggle, and we have wrote out several strategies that will be used to alleviate the gangster regime's atrocities in our land, and of course to bring Mr. Biya to book and certainly seize our complete freedom. At this particular moment, we've wrote out 4 key letters that will be shared on Facebook and other social media networks, and we are calling on every citizen abroad in the diaspora to massively participate in sharing these letters with the bodies that are concerned. The first, of course, will be to all the congressmen harboring in the United States of America. We want to specially thank those in Massachusetts for the great work they've been doing, and of course we want to thank those in Indiana and Texas. But there are other states within the US, of course, more than 50 states or 50 states that we have to sweep across. This particular letter that we shall be putting out on social media, please, if you are a Southern Cameroonian, download this letter and send to your congressman on the email addresses that will be provided or that will come along. Certainly, we have come this far, and we must make the United States of America, Mr. Trump's America, know about Mr. Paul Biya's gangster regime and what he did shortly after the UN General Assembly 2017. Mr. Trump certainly clamped down on Mr. Paul Biya's barbaric atrocities in our land, and Mr. Trump is willing to assist us in bringing Mr. Biya to book. These letters, of course, will be sweeping through Congress in the United States of America and will push La Republique to account for the millions of lives that have been lost for the past 56 years, and in particular for the hundreds of lives that have been lost since October 1, 2017. Using military hardware, weapons supplied by the United States Defense Forces to fight Boko Haram, and instead using these weapons to fight unarmed civilians, to kill unarmed civilians, and to initiate fear and terror on a people who are seeking for their self-determination right. Certainly, Mr. Biya will be brought to book under Mr. Trump's administration. Our next letter certainly will go to the Intercontinental Hotel in Switzerland, where Mr. Paul Biya, the terrorist, is currently harboring. We have drafted this letter, and of course we'll be putting this letter on the social media. Please forward this letter to the address that will be provided. That means to the Intercontinental Hotel in Geneva, Switzerland. And we have to push Mr. Biya out of this hotel. That hotel cannot be harboring a terrorist, and Africa's most wanted terrorist. We shall flush Biya out of Geneva, Switzerland. Then we shall also write letters to the U.S. Department of State for Defense and asking them or requesting them in a gentle appeal that they should stop military supplies to Cameroon, to La République du Cameroon, because we've documented evidence where tankers, armored tankers and helicopters supplied by the United States to fight Boko Haram were instead used to fight people in southern Cameroon, particularly in Boya and Bamenda, and initiate fear into the lives of people, women and children in particular. Certainly our last letter will be addressed to the Geneva government, to the Swiss government, to tell them that they are having a terrorist who currently harbors in the country and he must be purged out from that country. Our people have the right to self-defense. Our people have the right to human rights, democracy, the rule of law, equality and dignity. Certainly, all of these letters are pressuring international governments to act on the case of Southern Cameroons. Notwithstanding, we want to appreciate the United Nations and also the EU for standing strong and out and firm against Mr. Paul Biya's atrocities. Our people living in the European Union will be having letters received or sent by us. Please forward these letters to your MPs, to the EU members. And of course, we have to pressure the UN or pressure Cameroon from the UN and from the EU and from the US government. Certainly, we are also requesting that the IMF will be brought to book because their structural adjustment program has been used to finance the terrorist regime of Mr. Shekau Paul Biya Bartholomew Bim Vondo. And of course, we have to stage a mass protest next week, and I'll be leading this protest in front of the International Monetary Fund in Washington, D.C., 2017, October. Certainly, this will be my first outing to lead a huge delegation to protest in front of the IMF. The structural adjustment program rolled out in 1994 has been dubious, and we shall bring the gangster regime to book. We cannot keep funding gangster regimes in Africa who use the money, swindle the money, and use all the military might they have at their disposal to fight their own citizens, to kill their own citizens, to drone their own citizens, and to push human rights over the cliff. It is obnoxious, it is abominable, and it is unacceptable. My dear Southern Cameroonians, I'm here to reassure you once more that we shall be rolling out a structural adjustments program to fund the resistance of the Southern Cameroon's movement for the restoration of the lost statehood, and to fund, of course, self-defense. Please, this is not time for complaints. You've seen the lives that have been lost for over the years, and in particular since the 1st of October 2017. There is no turning back. And of course, it is an information war. It is an information war because Mr. Cheruma Bakari of La République du Cameroon, the communications minister, the propaganda minister, has been very keen on making sure the regime wins over us, lords over us, and of course, have the upper hand. It is impossible. The biggest tool we have now is the social media, and we shall use the social media to clamp down on the gangster regime, to coordinate efforts, and of course, to win back our lost statehood. Please be very collaborative at this stage. And again, we want to reassure the people that no informant whosoever must leak out the secrets of our regime, the current governing council of Southern Cameroons and other governing bodies of Southern Cameroons, and any group that is out to restore the lost statehood. No informant, if there is anyone leaking out information into La République about us, we shall hold you down responsible, and of course you know the consequences that shall befall you. So certainly we are out for any spies or any espionage activities or any informant working for La République government. Please be very watchful about your environment. We are all into this particular game and no one is backing out. Certainly, we will be taking the fight to La République in the upcoming days, and I want to seize this particular opportunity after consultations with some key leaders to announce that there shall be ghost towns only on Monday, and of course, in the upcoming days, there shall be a mass mourning mourning for the loss of lives that we've recorded over the past few days since October 1, 2017. And of course, it shall be a month long of mourning. Dress in black or dress in whatever mourning wear you want to dress in. And of course, we shall hold the right, and we still have the right to ghost towns. We still have the right to civil disobedience, and we still have the right to boycotts. So please, no trucks shall circulate at this particular point in time. No trucks transporting timber and beer and other brasseries products and other French produced products shall transport or shall move in southern Cameroon. We shall burn them down. We shall burn all of these trucks because they are responsible for putting us into the situation we find ourselves. Also, a special message goes out to all the DOs and SDOs. These are colonial officers who have been responsible for ordering the killings of their own civilians, and there is no position at this moment as SDOs and DOs. Communities, please be very vigilant. At any moment you have the time and you have the chance of holding down an SDO or DO, please do not seize that opportunity or do not let that opportunity go away. We must hold these DOs down and using any means and every means possible to eliminate that particular position in southern Cameroon. These are the people who have been responsible for ordering killings and for initiating terrorism in our homeland. Certainly, we are with you, and subsequently, we'll be releasing other video broadcasts of our activities, and we want to once more reassure you that we are working at the background not to leak out strategies and tactics in the public. And of course, be rest assured, we've brought you this far in the middle of the Red Sea, and the devil comes in when the devil sees victory on our side. Certainly, do not be discouraged. We have victory on our side, and what is happening now is just a passing fade. The devil, of course, will be eliminated. We shall send the devil back to hell, and we shall burn the gates of hell and burn every devil in it. And that devil is La République. Please be watchful, especially against Francophones who are out to destabilize the struggle with information war, and do not side with any regime or any citizen who is out to bring down the struggle. Once more, my name is Tapang Ivo. Tanku, and certainly I am always with you.